their personalities and their characters, especially these days. You'll hear someone complaining that so I did not know who they were until we were even 2 months or 3 months. We don't have to go to 5 years. So what's your perception on actually thinking you know someone, or you feel like your game is so good that you do know but you don't know? You know, matters of the heart don't have common sense. So how do you, you know, balance it here?
There's one thing our generation doesn't like to hear: time. Take your time. Time, it's one thing that it's the test that no one gets to beat, because even those horror stories are like, who did I marry? After 5 years it unravels. After time always reveals, you know. And I feel like if we took more time in our relationships, you'd be able to see the characters of people better. And if you were to remove some of the motivators that we have in relationships right now, like material things, like looking for a partner, like on a male perspective, who is just aesthetically good to look at, you know, as compared to the things that you may value in a human being, those things end up shortchanging what you get in a relationship, you know. So if we put aside those interests that may tickle our fancy and just focus on the things that are important, you know, and give it the time that it needs, I think you'd be able to decipher what a person's character is like, what their personalities are like. And this is something I also advise a lot of women to do. It's like, for a lot of guys, if you're dating someone, remove sex from the equation the minute you start talking to them, and you'll understand a guy's motivations very quickly.
I see.
Yeah.
What's your perspective on the same? I see you thinking that
you need to know yourself. He says it's time. For me, you need to know yourself. So you know your boundaries, know what you want.
So that's the
Most
time.
people, not time. You yourself as a person, before I take time to date him, I already analyze what exactly do I want in a man. So I'm able to cancel out the small red, the tiniest. I will detect it and just be like, no, staki hiyo. But sasa watu wanaingia kwa relationship, ujijui na ujui unataka nini, unataka tu mapenzi. Unataka mapenzi, ngono na pesa. I think that's like the three things yenye tu watu ingia juu wameona. But other than that,
are you looking for a perfect person?
Mimi mwenyewe siko perfect. Where do I get a perfect person? But have sense. There's some things you do that is not being imperfect, it's just stupidity. Unataka tu kuniumiza.
Okay. Now we have a perspective here from one of our viewers, and I believe this is what's up. She says, my ex-husband took advantage of me, compromising all the time. He ended up forcing me to take care of his 7 children from different baby mamas, and he reached a point he started hitting me and insulting me in front of his children. Please, women, let us be stingy with our hearts. Stay with someone who loves and respects you, not someone who wants you to be in a miserable relationship in the name of being a submissive woman. But in reality, you are being used by a man. All right. Thank you so much for your perspective. And I'm so sorry that that has happened to you. And we have one here. And this one is on a lighter note. She says, good morning, Remmy Majala. Say hi to your guests. Mama Njoki watching from Jerusalem. Thank you so much, Mama Njoki. She says hi to you.
Hi.
Right. So there you go. I mean, this is one lady. Now, this is a very serious situation. I believe she's been in this relationship for a long time, or marriage for that matter. And this man has, you know, abused her in different ways. And one of the ways is by him having children out of their relationship, and she's taking care of 7 of those children while he is still insulting and abusing her. So when you have, you know, a situation like that, like I said, both of you are very young still, and this is a whole other conversation, a deeper conversation at a different level. What have you seen, you know, in the past generations, not just millennial, even ex-boomers and then like that, you say, wow, this is something that I would not want to see in my life repeated?
There's something from the previous generation that I completely detest from like a male perspective, right? My generation of guys, even me, like my friends and stuff, I don't get off by having my foot over anyone else. That doesn't make me feel good, and that's something like the previous generation of men feed off of.
You mean like, abuse for that matter?
Abuse is the farthest end, but it starts from the small things of like feeling like you are the man in the relationship. Like my dominance, it's not something I feel I need to assert anywhere. If it does not speak for itself, it's not dominance. You know, like I just want to be myself, and my friends just want to be you without having to be over someone else. And that's a point of disagreement you have with the previous generation. Unfortunately, I don't think that talks about the majority of men out there, you know. But that's something that, honestly speaking, if you analyze, it comes from a place of insecurity, you know. Like, I'm big, and I don't need to feel like I'm bigger than you for me to feel significant, you know. And that's something the previous generation of men struggle with. You get your sense of masculinity from subjugating other people, you know. That's something we don't see eye to eye on that. Yeah.
All right, Dana.
I'm still thinking about that lady.
Yeah.
And the worst thing is that I have a sense of humor that's not very good, because me, I'll smile because I wonder, how does it get to that extent? The first day, like nasema, kujijua ka dem do the most important thing, the best thing you'd ever do to yourself. Even as a man, know yourself and what you want, because I'll set boundaries. I've left relationships because you raised your voice at me. Mi usinishautie, mi ni baby girl. And that's it. I walked out. So for you, kwa unachapwa, unaletewa mtoto wa kwanza, wa pili, wa tatu, wa nne. He cheated 7 times. You still stayed. The problem is you. I'm sorry, but the problem is you. You never had boundaries. You compromised vitu zenye extreme. Like when mwenyewe jiambie, I don't want this. I don't want a man that comes home drunk. That's it. That's a cut off. I don't want it. I can't handle it. I don't. Acha mtu mwingine, wacha wenye walivu wawili wawane. Achana now if it's not your thing. I don't want a man that cheats. That's why it cuts. I'm not gonna. I think it's about the boundaries you put. Kuna extent ya compromise.
Okay. Now, because compromise is a very sticky word, and especially in today's society, and the first aspect that I'm seeing most people are looking into it is the negative bit. It's not on a positive connotation, for that matter. So if you're going into a relationship, how would you then define what your positives are when it comes to compromise? Like, how would you say you now understand, or do you really ever get to understand it? Because people are coming in. We had discussed this, Diana, last Wednesday, about trauma bonding, which is also part of the problem when it comes to having relationship, and that in itself is connected to the compromise perspective, right? Yeah. So having all that in mind, what's your
Well, before I answer your question, I'd like to refer to something that she said. I don't think it will ever be fair to blame a victim, because the psychology of like complex trauma is something that even till today we're understanding how deep it is. It genuinely affects people to a level where you don't understand. Like, it's a whole thing, you know. So I would never put the blame on that lady being there.
I'm telling her she knew better. I'm a woman.
But hold that man accountable.
Mimi dem. Najuanga hii kitu ni mademu kwa na hiyo kitu ndani yao. You know this man is wrong for you. See the red flag. You want it to become maroon, pink, yellow. You imagine it any color just to make the relationship going. Most of the time, it's not the man that even keeps a relationship going. It's always the woman putting in more efforts. Because for us, we have a time limit. At 30, ikianza kusonga tunaambiwa tumebeat. What are you umebeat? What are you ulizwa body count yako ni ngapi? So si compromise sana. Na ndio namwambia, simwambii ni ati now you're the problem. But why make yourself get there? Well, you could have prevented. Because if you ask her, she knew. She just didn't want to accept it.
The way I draw the line is when somebody is getting physically abused. Stockholm syndrome is a thing. It's not an idea. It's a genuine thing people have researched and found out. By the way, people are there because they don't even know how to get out of that situation. You know, it's baffling, but it's the truth. You know, and that said, to answer your question, when it comes to good and positive compromise, right? When you're genuinely in a happy, I would not say happy, because happy is it's fleeting, right? But you're in a relationship where you genuinely love somebody. You look for opportunities to do things to make their lives easier. It's a natural thing that comes to you, you know. But whenever in a relationship, you're holding your breath.
Can I catch you? So it means it's something you enjoy doing. Kama nikubaya demo wako maua, you do it also because you enjoy doing it. Yeah. So you're not compromising any. You see, that's the difference between a man. You're not changing anything about yourself to make that girl happy. You just want it gives you that nice feeling, okay? So you're gaining something. And for us, Kenya, tuna sacrifice, we are gaining pain, you're gaining happiness.
And we're talking about positive compromise.
Hakuna positive on the female side. No jaribu kwa show.
Okay. Let's I want to take you guys on a bit of a quote unquote deeper turn. Okay. Now, there's something that we call generational trauma, right? You have women, generation, let's say, for example, in this case, a woman. She has seen 4 generations from, her great-grandmother, grandmother, her mother, and herself now go through maybe, baby daddy situations. they never get married. They unfortunate. Some things are, some cases are extreme. In the cases of rape, in the cases of just different social abuse. Sexual abuse and the like. So you have this being passed on to the next woman, and that's an intellectual. It's a mindset. It's a thing that just you keep seeing and keep doing. Now you've seen these things in your friends, in society in general. So when it's like that, how do you, in your own opinion, look at it at this same situation like this woman has faced, and then elaborate it?
I think I'm going to talk on my perspective. In my childhood, I didn't have the best. Surrounding Niploti is around Mirema, so the fighting is too much. So I grew up with knowing, there was a time I felt like I knew that for you to become more submissive to a man, lazima upigwe kidogo, and it's something in the society, because if mama nani alipigwa jana au mwingine alipigwa the next day, then it means it's a thing that you need to accept. Until I almost saw it in a household that I was familiar with, and I was like, if you ever lay a hand on me, ni mimi na kamiti na wewe na kaburi, mambo ni mbili.
Okay.
So I think it's a mindset, the way you change it, it's you to change it.
Okay, so you saw and you decided that that is not going to be
never happen
your
to
story.
Me. But there are people that take it and they're like, this is how life is, twende.
All right. Tago.
Wow. Well, okay. It is something that has heavy implications, because clearly you can see it really shapes how we think. It's unfortunate, but it gets to the point where we genuinely have to ask ourselves, right? What are the things that we want to put at the forefront in terms of the conversation, right? Like, we need to stop debating whether it's right or not, for these things to be happening. That's not the conversation. That's obvious. It's not. It's the point where we're discussing generational trauma is passing down abusive traits from father to son. That is so, the bar is so low, and I feel like that's what feeds into the most negative aspects of what we see in relationships today, like femicide. It's because that's become such an internalized thing, But the discourse needs to evolve past that point where we start talking about, okay, fine, this is already socially unacceptable. Let's move the conversation forward. Let's talk about, okay, fine, right? We're not even going to entertain the thought of why was the victim there, right? Because we know there is data, there is scientific data. This is not even a matter of opinion anymore. There are facts behind it, right? People are there because they don't know better. They don't know better, and it's so set in the way people are thinking that the conversation should evolve past that. Let's talk about, okay, fine, how does a healthy relationship look like? Because already this is not something to discuss anymore, because the conversation goes to okay, what was she doing there? What had she done? Men just don't do. I'm like, yo, listen, I'm a dude, and I've experienced guys who are absolutely off their rockers. He will come from where he'll come from and start beef with me, So I'm like, sasa na imagine bibi yake atakuwa aje. And then we sit there and talk about, it's generational trauma. I'm like, no, that's wickedness. Let's just draw the line. Let's move the conversation to, okay, fine. How is it that we can create a society where our girls and our women feel, okay, I'm being seen, I'm being heard safely? Because the boys are having those conversations in that context. I'm not worried. The thing I'm worried about losing in a relationship at worst is my time. You date the wrong guy these days as a chick. Pesa ni kitu kidogo, amen? But at the end of the day,
my money, my invest, everything.
So are we socializing trauma and pain? Are we making it something that cannot be resolved in society? That is why it takes up much of the conversation.
Kwanza tumefanya kai blame game too. We accept it.
So what's the solution to this?
Mimi upiga madem juu babangu alipiga madem. Wewe ni babako.
Ndio nakwambia basi, what is the solution to this?
Ningesema government waingilie kati, lakini
you do have a point though. It's a matter of the law. It's assault, right? It's a matter of the law.
I did go to the police station a few days ago.
What happened?
We had lost someone, so we were trying to find them. And mtu aliniambia tu, msijali, mtampata tu. Nimekuja kwako, mtu amepotea, mnaniambia usijali, nyinyi mtampata. So I would call out the government, but I think maybe.
But did you end up getting any help whatsoever?
No, they do not give you help unless you have money. You don't have money, come off for our police station.
Mlimpata?
Yeah.
Oh, thank God.
Okay.
But that says a lot. That says a lot, right? These things, these conversations, if you ever think they're not important, understand this. These conversations, they make it in such a way that you will go to report a crime, because it is a crime. See, you know, and people always have this thing of it's a domestic issue. No, it's a crime. You go report it, and because of how we have socialized this conversation, you'll hear it on talk shows, you'll hear it on the radio. It's so casual, right? I'm like, yo, go sort that thing at home. I'm like,
yeah, utaenda kuripoti ambao hii ni mambo ya familia. Utazoea, pigia mamako mwambie what's going on.
Na utapigia mamako atakwambia, you know what? Vumilia.
Vumilia.
That's why I go back to what I was saying. Dysfunction is something that you have to make a decision to work hard out of. Or otherwise, when we have most of this conversation, even if it's not me hosting it, someone else, we will be always speaking about what is wrong as opposed to what we can do right, and then the blame game ensues, and that can take a while. But when it comes to working on, you know, these matters, what is the solution? You know, you're in your prime. I mean, your generation led a whole protest that changed things and everything, right? So what now do you believe can be done so that in individual ways and in general ways that can change things?
We need to talk about looking at relationships in a way that you're looking for the things that are intrinsically important to you, because that's what you're seeking out, a partnership. You're seeking out a partnership with someone. Somebody is doing their own thing, I'm doing my own thing, and we're choosing to do this thing together, you know. We're choosing to share our time together, you know.
Yo, word ametumia, that's exactly what a relationship is. It's not compromise. If you're having a business partner, inamanishanga profit ni chwani, effort ni chwani. But hii jina compromise, make it same. It's a female thing. Let's bring it to 80%.
Hautaki kusikia compromise, inakutraumatize.
Because I know what it means. It means me, my happiness doesn't matter. Let me let you do you. And most of the time it's never on the reversal. Huyu compromise yenye anajua ni kunipe pesa yake, na hiyo ni responsibility ya compromise, ni tunafaa kwa kufanya.
Oh, no. But why is it that, like, you'd be in a relationship, you're not married, you're dating somebody, and genuinely, and as you said, I will work, nitaenda nitafute pesa. Pesa yangu, you're not my child, pesa yangu, we're adults. But society will expect me to take care of a grown woman, and we're dating. Are you seeing how that becomes now?
What is taking care? How do you define taking care? Is it dates? Is it...
Let me ask him the ultimate question.
Yeah.
Apart from money,
We're
what
winding
else
up,
does a man bring to the table? Without mentioning finances.
What else does a man? Ideally, a man should provide the kind of environment that it helps someone become her best self, right?
How do you provide the environment?
Are you a person who can cultivate the woman in terms of having, like,
how do you cultivate the woman?
What point do you want me to arrive at?
There's nothing a man can bring but money.
I promise you there is a topic for this.
Okay.
I promise you there is a topic for this part of the conversation, right? Because we need to end. I think what I hear you both saying is that there's a solution, but it's work, right?
The solution
and you don't want
is forget compromise.
For
women,
choose.
forget it. Do what makes you happy.
I'll put it simply, do what gives you joy, and if that is sharing your life with somebody else, do that. But at the end of the day, we can do a lot to accommodate those we love in our lives in a healthy way. It's possible.
All right.
Yeah.
Rick, Diana, thank you so much for coming in today and sharing with us your perspectives on compromise. And as for Diana, she does not want to hear that word. Thank you so much for watching Morning Vibe. My name is Remmy Majala. We'll see you again tomorrow on Spotlight Thursdays. Have a great day.